In the last video, I introduced to you this concept of a weighted average, and we found this to be the case here, how we would calculate it. And in this video, I just want to give us some more feel and help us get some intuition of why we're specifically dividing by the total weight here. And if you can remember, when we were talking about the regular average, I had a similar video where I told you, okay, this is exactly why we need to divide by the total length of our interval. And that was bringing up the example of a constant function. And that's exactly what I want to do here, because it's the same reason why. It's the same reason why. When we deal with a constant function, we need, when we take a weighted average of that, we need to get that constant back out. So if I were to just play this out with you, if we were to say that f of x is a constant function, and then we had a weighting function here, and it was 3x squared plus 2, just as an example, and we were looking at the interval from 0 to 4. And you could pause the video and try to calculate the average, the weighted average if you'd like, and filling this in, we would get the following. We'd have the definite integral from 0 to 4, and our function is a constant, c, and then multiplying by our weighting function, 3x squared plus 2, and then dx, and then we divide. We divide by the definite integral from 0 to 4 of our weighting function. And then this is dx. What we can do is pull this c out. It's just a constant. So if we were to do that, we would get something like this. And you can see, we can then cancel these, and we're left with c. So you can see that is exactly why we need to be dividing by the total amount of weight, so that when we're finding a weighted average of a constant function, we make sure to get that constant back out. It's the same reason why when we were talking about the regular average, we had to divide by the length of the interval. So if you ever get confused with the weighted average, for remembering what it is, you can go back to an example like this. And one quick thing before we go, what if we were to just talk about this with stocks? Maybe that will make this a little more concrete. So in the last video, we were talking about some stocks. Let's say you now are looking at a company and you buy some stock, and that the share price is $10 that one year, and you end up buying 10 of those. And then the following year, the stock price didn't change, the share price didn't change, so it's still $10, and you end up buying 20 shares of it because you're convinced it's going up. And then the year after that, it's still $10. But this year, you're sure that the following year, that pretty soon, this is going to go up. So you buy 100 shares of it. And I were to ask you, okay, what is your average price per share in this company here? And you don't even need to calculate this. You know it's $10. It's $10. You didn't buy any other shares at any other price. It was only $10. So it's going to be average price per share, $10 per share. So hopefully that can give you even a little more intuition behind this, but I just want you to feel good of why we're dividing by the total amount of weight and why it has to be that and why it can't be anything else.